Hi, friends and neighbors. I'm Carl Swenson. I'm a course mentor in diversity, inclusion, and exceptionality, along with Janae Reiser. And today, I want to talk to you a little bit about English language learners. Did you know that in United States schools that we have over 350 languages spoken by English learners today? That's an amazing number when you stop and think about it, that over 350 languages other than English are spoken by students in schools today. The top five languages of those 350 are those that you see here: Spanish, Vietnamese, Hmong, Korean, and Arabic. Now, you may have thought that some other languages may have been near the top, but these are those that we see most often. This next statistic is rather significant and eye-opening. And 20% of U.S. school children speak languages other than English at home. That means that they're bilingual. They speak a heritage language at home and they speak English at school. And of these 10.4 million students, approximately 25% of them were identified as speaking English less than very well. Now, all told in the United States, there's about 3.8 million students who are receiving some sort of English language learner services. And in the year 2008-2009, only 33 of our states had teaching standards for ELL. Now, WGU does provide undergraduate degrees and master's degrees in ELL, in English language learning and teaching, but not all schools do. And so that's one of the reasons that we see that in 2008-2009, only 33 of the states had teaching standards. An interesting prediction here is that by the year 2020, which is not that far away, 30% of students will speak a language other than English. Now, I remind you that just a minute ago I told you that 20% right now speak a language other than English. So this is a significant increase in just another 7 years. English language learners have increased dramatically over the last decade. We've seen a reason for this is even more immigration into the United States. And so with that increases the number of kids who are English language learners. Another interesting statistic that falls in line with what we're talking about here is that almost 60% of these English language learners qualify for free or reduced lunch. Now, what that means, when a student qualifies for free or reduced lunch, that typically means that they meet the requirements for the lower socioeconomic status, or poverty, if you will. So it's kind of interesting that 60% of our English language learners fit into that category. And this last statistic is really very sad, and that is that 8th grade ELL students scored less than half of English-speaking peers on reading and mathematics tests, and these are standardized tests. So at the 8th grade level, ELL students were scoring less than half of their English-speaking peers on standardized reading and mathematics assessments. So you can see that we've got some work cut out for us. Now, some of the indicators of need for English language learners. When we look at language issues, we find many of these things: a reluctance to speak in the classroom, excessive circumlocution, and circumlocution is really kind of a nice way of saying talking in circles, if you will. Babbling on without really coming to a point, I suppose is another way to put it. But excessive circumlocution is a sign that we might need English language instruction for the student. Difficulty in choosing the correct words or having a very labored response, taking a great amount of time and effort to come up with the right word is what this is referring to. when we see that the burden of communication is placed on the listener or the reader, that child who's having so much trouble, that's a sign that that child probably needs some English language instruction. And then a difficulty in following instructions. So we're giving the instructions to the student, but the student's just not understanding. Now, those are things that deal with language issues. Now let's take a look at some of the behavioral issues that we see for kids who need English language instruction. Not getting assignments completed or having them turned in late, or an inappropriate level of attention from the instructor, from the teacher, often indicates that we need English language instruction. When a student needs extra time and there's not another viable reason for needing that extra time. For instance, if there's no indication of an intellectual disability or no indication of a specific learning disorder, but simply because the student doesn't understand English. Avoidance of interaction with the instructor or peers is often a sign. Over-reliance on dictionaries and references often indicates to us that the student is not understanding the language. Now, what services do we have that we can provide? Well, one of the problems we have with services is that I mentioned before that only 33 states had standards for teaching English language learning. We also see that there's a real varied response from different states and different districts within the states as to what is provided for students. We used to have programs in schools that were bilingual. We would work both in heritage language and in English, but we find that these are no longer that prevalent. As a matter of fact, they're becoming very rare because we've gone to programs that are more focused on the learning of the English language rather than learning English language and heritage language. And by the way, those programs were beneficial for English-speaking students because it allowed them the opportunity to learn a different language too. So we were actually seeing benefits from those programs. Programs that we have available today, you may have heard of sheltered instruction or transitional bilingual education, two-way immersion, newcomer programs, developmental bilingual education. These are all names of programs that are available. And here is an explanation of some of those. Now, some of these we don't see very much anymore. The enrichment programs, and especially we would like not to see the immersion program, number 4 on your list, because this is, as it says there, it's truly a sink or swim philosophy where we basically take a student, an English language learner, and basically throw them into a classroom in which all English is spoken, and that's the idea of immersion. And it's very, very difficult. So we hope not to see those many anymore. What we do see, I think, most of the time is number 6 on the bottom, the one that says sheltered English. And this is a kind of a full service idea of English language learning, if you will. We spend time working on vocabulary. We try to identify words, English words that are important within the content matter, the subject matter that we're working with. We also use a lot of visuals, a lot of hand gestures and things like that in sheltered English to assist the English language learners. Adaptations that we might make in our classroom. First and foremost, we want to certainly heed the principles of culturally responsive instruction. We want to make sure that we have a multicultural educational setting for all of our students. We want to make sure that we work very diligently with the principles of language instruction in the proper instruction of the English language, how to use it, and then probably one of the most important things that we can do is the building of English vocabulary, because that has been proven to be the most effective way to teach English language learners, is to build their vocabulary. So that becomes very important within your classroom, and you want to do what you can for that. And then teaching content area subjects using words that are in those vocabularies that you're working on. Assessment ideas. Now, this first one is not a suggestion, as the slide might indicate. But actually, this is very important, that we assess a child in both English and in the native language before administering other tests. This is part of the referral process. As a matter of fact, this is required by IDEA 2004, that that we assess an English language learner both in English and in that child's native language before administering other assessments. And if we decide that we're going to refer the child for special education, then that child must exhibit the disability when evaluated in his native language, in his heritage language, not just the English language. So it's exceptionally important that we do this when we're looking to make a determination as to whether the student needs special services or not. Some things to remember. Children are going to come into your classroom speaking their family's heritage language. They may know very little English. They may know some, but they may know very little. Yeah, a lot of languages to work with, 350. So, we're not going to see a whole lot of bilingual classes because of that, because it's very difficult to focus on 350 languages all at the same time. There's this third point: proficiency in a language has to include interpersonal communications, which is kind of like casual speaking, and then the academic learning proficiency, and that's where we use the higher caliber vocabulary, those things that we might typically use in an educational setting. And again, I say that we have to follow the principles of culturally responsive instruction. Extremely important that we do that. A few more things that I would like you to remember. The most common program today that we see is sheltered instruction. And here's a really good definition or explanation of what sheltered instruction might be. Teacher provides instruction in content area in English. We activate background knowledge. That means that we use information and knowledge that the student already has. We use clear and consistent language and incorporate cues such as visual aids and gestures and such. We speak an awful lot with our hands, and oftentimes that's kind of a universal language, and so the kids might understand that when they're not understanding the words. And your gestures may allow the child to quicker associate meaning with words. Some more effective instruction. Same characteristics as effective instruction for all students. English language learners are no different. We use the same effective characteristics for instruction. So don't think that it's terribly different. It's really important to build this English vocabulary. It's very, very important. And we give the students every opportunity we can to use that vocabulary and to increase their English language learning. And for your own benefit, some areas that you may want to go and restudy in the course of study. We have these videos from Educational Impact called Teaching the ESL Learners. It'd be really, really beneficial to you to go through and complete these modules and these topics. And then at the very bottom, you see a Star Legacy module. Again, this is in the course of study. These are all hot links, so if you click on them, they should go directly to the modules and to the videos. So that's for your own benefit to prepare you for the objective assessment. So this has been really kind of a short 20-minute discussion of what ELL is and what we can expect to see and what we can expect to see in kids, but it'll get you on the way. Don't forget to look at the course of study. There's a tremendous amount of good information in there that'll help you along the way. Thanks for your time. Good luck in this course of study. Call us if you need us. We're available to talk to you. Bye-bye.